Good day, everyone. I am Robert Caneda, and my topic is Chapter 15, Competition and Pricing. Before I proceed, let me read the objectives. Number one, understand how competition influences pricing strategy and when to respond competitor pricing. Number two, organizing that sustainable probability comes from delivering distinct value, not solely undercutting price. Last is learn to align pricing with customer perceptions of value while leveraging strategic differentiation. So next slide. So introduction, strategic pricing aim to align a firm price with customers' willingness to pay, but competitors' actions significant influence this. Pricing does not occur in solely competitors. Pricing limit a firm flexibility. To succeed firms should focus on differentiations rather than solely competing on price. Using tools like marketing segment, production, positioning, and branding. While underpricing computer may sometimes be necessary, it's not just sustainable competition advantage. The key delivering distinct value and pricing based on the perceived value, ensuring probability over market shares. So strategic pricing align with customers' need and consideration competitors, but focus on standing out through unique value, not just low price, and delivering value ensures long-term probability over market share. So next slide, please. The origin of price war. The price war rarely begins nationally and are constantly constantly with uncertain benefits. Attempts to eliminate competitors often fail as established firms are hard to remove and may monopoly profit attract new entrants. Price was typically reduced industry profit and more often the result of poor anticipations of competitors' action or aggressive market shares strategies. So price war often start with accident and hurt everyone profits. They usually fail eliminate competitors and attract new instead while higher price could benefit all firm avoid to protect their market shares and market cooperation unlikely. So next slide please. Prisoner dilemma and pricing. The present dilemma illustrate how short-term competitive pricing actions can harm industry-wide profit. Competing firms like two prisons unable to communicate while lower price gain market shares, resulting in mutual losses. If either firm cut price, all benefit from stable revenues. However, when one reduce price, it's pressure other to retail. So the present dilemma shows that price cut may lead to loss for everyone. If firms keep price steady, all benefits, but one can cut trigger harmful cycle. The focus should be on a long-term success and standing out, not price war. So next slide, please. Structural drivers of price competition. Price war present due to structural factors, even when firms have long-term incentives to avoid them. The five key drivers influence the price competition. One is numbers of competitors. Fewer competitors allows for easier monitoring and coordinate pricing. In market, many players firm lower price without intimidate retaliations, flowing competition. Number two, managerial maturity. Experience executive anticipations, the impact of pricing actions avoid unnecessary war. Immature competitors often misjudge or fail to monitor price and trigger destructive outcomes. 3. High fixed cost, low marginal cost. Industries like software with high fixed cost and negligible margin cost face pressures to discount heavily to capture marginal revenue, often lead to aggressive price competition. Number 4, industry maturity and economies. Young industries with growth potential incentive low pricing to gain market share, expecting future benefits from economies of scale, scope, or learning. 5. Network externalities. In industry where product value growth with user adapt, like gaming, console, social network, firm may price aggressively to dominate network and capture future revenue. So that's all my report.
Okay, so good day everyone. By the continuation of our report, we continuing the part of Robert, which is the chapter 15. So first is the reacting to price reductions. So to effectively respond to a competitor's price reduction without escalating into a damaging price war, firms should consider three key factors. So the first key factor is the direct cost and benefits. It is to evaluate the specific revenue at risk and the benefits of a price response, to identify the market segment, products, and customers affected by the competitor's price cut, and to determine the likelihood of retaining revenue and profits by matching the price. Assesses if the threatened revenue holds strategic importance or risk opening other market vulnerabilities. Next slide, please. Konnichiwa. Next slide, please. So the for a moment, guys. So the number 2 is the secondary consequences. It is to anticipate broader impacts of the price reduction, which means price concessions in one segment may spill over, prompting demands for similar reductions across other markets. And to consumers or industrial clients may perceive unequal pricing as unfair, risking customer dissatisfaction or defection, and to consider if our response will trigger further price cuts from competitors, potentially leading to an ongoing price war that erodes profits. Next slide, please. So the next key factors is the strategic position. It is account for the competitor's cost structure. If a competitor has a strategic cost advantage, their price reductions may remain profitable, making it risky to engage in a price matching strategy. And it is to determine if your firm can sustain sequential price reductions without jeopardizing long-term profitability. Next slide, please. So here is the reacting to price reduction. As you can see at the table, this is it is showing the competitively advantage and the competitively neutral or disadvantage. Next slide, please. So here the next topic I'm gonna delve in the initiating price reductions. So strategic price reductions help firms capture larger market shares by balancing costs and customer value. Companies like EA, Southwest, and Walmart focus on lowering costs while meeting customer needs, enabling them to enter and serve markets profitably. Next is the gouging competitive response. Number one is awareness. Many competitors miss price changes due to incomplete data or lack of market tracking. Number two is to perceive the threat. If the pricing action doesn't impact the competitors' financial goals, they may not respond. Number three is the priority. Competitors with ongoing strategies, like product launches, may not prioritize responding to price changes. Number four is the organizational inertia. It is firms may resist reacting, especially if the threat doesn't appear urgent. Next slide, please. Here is the gouging competitive response. So, what options will competitors consider? So, most firms typically choose one of four responses: watching the price change, introducing a similar product, or modifying their own pricing. Decisions often rely on past strategies or advice from within the company. Which response will competitors likely choose? Competitors usually focus on short-term reactions without considering long-term consequences or further rounds of competition. By analyzing their options, executives can predict which response competitors are most likely to take, especially when financial impacts are considered. Next slide, please. Price wars can be highly damaging, so it's important to manage pricing actions carefully. So there are two techniques that can help mitigate the risk of price war: are price signaling and tit for tat pricing. So both strategies aim to encourage competitors to focus on factors beyond just price competition. So here is the managing price actions. So first is the price signaling. Price signaling involves indirectly communicating pricing actions to competitors, usually through public channels like business newspapers or industry magazines. This approach signals to competitors about upcoming price changes, guiding them to adjust their strategies accordingly without direct communication, which would be illegal. For price signaling to be effective, first is the price change must be announced in a widely read public forum, and number two, the reasons for change should be credible, such as industry-wide cost increases or changes in the market demand. So price signaling helps reduce the risk of price war and can encourage competitors to raise prices collectively within an industry. Next slide, please. So in the tit for tat pricing is a strategy where a firm mirrors a competitor's price actions. If a competitor lowers their price, the firm follows suit. If the competitor raises prices, the firm matches the increase. This approach removes price as a competitive dimension by ensuring every price move is countered. Over time, the competitors realize that price changes lead to a mutual harm, discouraging them from engaging in price battles. So, by responding to price changes and communicating the reasons behind them, firms can help stop a price war and return to more stable, profitable competition.
So good evening everyone. This is Rizal and I'll be tackling about the product lifecycle pricing from chapter 16. So before that, let's discuss the overview. What is pricing? So pricing strategies evolve with the stages of product lifecycle. So effective alignment of pricing with market and product dynamics is crucial for profitability. So when we talk about the pricing, or the product life cycle pricing, it is the way of a product is priced changes as it moves through its life cycle. So let's first say for the companies use different prices strategies to suit the market and customers' needs at each stage. So let's say for example when a new iPhone is released, it starts at a high price, but as time goes by, over time, or let's say over time, the price drops for older models. Of course, customers um, will tend to focus on buying those new models rather than buying those old models because of its specs or the quality of the phone that has been released rather than the old models. So the next one is there are four stages of a product life cycle. So the first one is the introduction, the second one is the growth, the third one is the maturity, and lastly is decline. So I'll be tackling about the introduction, growth, and Raymond will discuss the maturity and decline. So introduction, it is the product is newly launched and the focus is on building awareness. So pricing in introductory markets, let's say for the customer, at this stage, early adopters are the primary customers. They are often willing to pay a premium for innovation or accessibility. So for these strategies, they are using scheme pricing or a high initial price to recover cost quickly and signal quality or innovation. Example, premium electronics like new smartphone releases, and the penetration pricing, low initial prices to capture market share rapidly and encourage adoptions. Example, it's subscription services offering discounted rates for first-time users. So the product, let's say for example, there is a new product and the company is trying to create awareness. So let's say the example if this one is the new Tesla launch is for electric cars to appeal to innovators, then more likely people buy the product and there's a lot of competitor because as we know that a lot of cars being released by different brand or by different companies, so people will tend to buy a product which is a high quality and of course new model rather than as what I've said rather than purchasing a product that is old, right? And then let's say another example is streaming services like Netflix became popular, followed by Disney and others. So in the maturity, the market is full and companies compete to keep customers. So let's say, for example, for Coca-Cola keeps selling well by using promotions. So the sales drop as people move to newer options. So another one is DVD players are no longer popular because of streaming services. Um, as as time goes by, people will tend to buy a new product that is um, and more likely what do you call the word um, kaya na-evolve naman ka sa generation wherein technology is ang ginapagamit rather than using those kumbaga high-tech na karon. So more likely people will tend to purchase a product na kung unsa ang high quality o katong mas makapadali sa ilaha, diba? And then the next one is a growth stage pricing. So a larger, more diverse group of buyers adopts the product. So strategy is competitive pricing to attract price-sensitive customers while maintaining profits. So adjusting prices in responses to competitors or market feedback. So the companies would tend to focus to aim to scale a production, improve efficiency, and maintain profitability. Pricing must balance volume growth with the need of sustained revenue. So yeah, mo ato siya a lot of in a business world there's a lot of competitors. So as a business owner, you need to promote or you need to provide a high quality on your product that you're about to sell so that people or the buyers would akit makaakit sa buyers para sila ma-purchase sa imong product. Dili lang ka ng pang low quality kay of course you have a lot of competitors, so kailangan nimo maging mindful to its pricing and maging mindful usab sa mga competitors kay basin dako na kay kag price sa imong product, but then again ang imong competitor you have the same quality pero the quality the same but the prices you have is higher than them. So so let's be mindful about the pricing. Kay people would tend to buy products, especially kung affordable sila. The next one is maturity stage pricing that will be discussed by Raymond.
So, for the continuation of Rizal Constant's topic, we're going to talk about maturity stage. In the mature space of the product life cycle, demand growth, competitor turbulence, and rapid product evolutions are replaced with more predictable industry dynamics. Further market growth is limited as product penetrations reaches saturation, rather than attracting new customer segments to the market. The market grows through overall increase of economic productivity and welfare or of the general populations. Uh, one of the Here are the four strategies of maturity stage. One is value-based pricing highlighting. Value-based pricing. Number two is discount and promotions. So let's start with value-based pricing, highlighting additional benefits of bundling. One example here is Microsoft Office offers bundles with additional features at different pricing tiers. Number two is discount and promotions to retain customers. Example is McDonald's offers frequent promotions and meal deals to stay competitive. Um, the nature of competition will have been established and firms will often pursue on the more common competitive strategies of cost leadership, product differentiation, or niche marketing. Um, okay, next slide please. Now, let's talk about customers. Niche customers or loyal users. Um, Here are the three strategies. Three strategies of decline stage pricing. First is price cuts to clear inventory. Accuracy in price setting is in mature markets improves due to better understanding of the market. Customer preferences techniques such as conjoint continue to generate relevant prices in both consumer and business markets of sufficient sizes. Example is older models of Samsung Galaxy phones are discounted heavily when new models launch. Next is harvesting strategy. Minimal investments while earning profits from a loyal base. Customer preferences techniques such as conjoint continue to generate relevant prices in both consumers and business markets of sufficient size. For most mature markets, customers' preferences techniques will dominate price setting challenges. In some more commodity-oriented industries, economic price optimization may become valuable with a reasonable track record of products within the market. It becomes possible for pricing managers to track historical variations between prices and volumes and develop satisfactorily reliable correlations. As such, they can construct meaningful metrics of elasticity of demand and required data point for conducting economic price and optimizations. One example here is the BlackBerry phones continued to sell to corporate clients for years after their consumer markets faded. And next is the challenges. Managing profitability while planning for phase out or transition to products. Next slide please. The definition. Okay. Let's talk about intertemporal price discrimination. Charging different prices at different times to maximize revenue. Intertemporal price discrimination is a form of price discriminations that enables a firm to capture value from those who value it the most. In intertemporal price discriminations, time itself acts as the segmentation hedge. Early customers in a new product category, such as visionaries and early maturity are suspected to be less price sensitive than later customers, such as the late majority and laggards. So, one of example here is over time. Older models are discounted to appeal to budget conscious buyers. This strategy ensures revenue maximizations while tapping into multiple customer segments. Intertemporal price discrimination is similar to but distinct from price skimming. While prices may move in a similar manner, the drivers behind the two strategies are different. Price skimming is defined as pricing high relative to competing products within the category. So next slide please. So that's all for our report. Thank you.
Sum of the topic. There's a summary is that pricing depends on the product's stage in its life. So when the product is new, expect that the prices are high. So when the discount, there will be discount when the sales grows, and then promotions to stay competitive in a market. So when you have a lot of competitors, of course, you will also use promotions to promote your product as well. Thank you.
Thank you everyone.